Blessings, beautiful beings. Thank you so much for joining me for practice today. To start, if you have blocks, you can go ahead and grab them. If not, that's perfectly okay. You can use a stack of books or just anything like that that'll bring the floor up to you would work. You can also, if you have a blanket, you can grab a blanket. Fritz says hello to everyone. He says hi. Also, if you have a bolster and you'd like to use that, you can do that also. All right, so to get started, go ahead and come to your mat. And if you don't have any of those things, don't worry about it. It's fine. Okay, go on. No. I'll see you later. All right, so to start, let's begin in a cross-legged seat. And we're just going to give ourselves a few seconds to really ground into our practice and to put aside anything that's gone on in your day thus far. We're going to let all of that go. We're going to focus on ourselves, our surrounding, really coming into the present moment. And then we'll get into a little bit of a flow and then we'll relax. So sit however is comfortable to you. This particular formation may not be comfortable for you, so go with what feels good. You can take a blanket and you can bring it behind yourself and just sit on it a little bit. And that's going to bring your knees up above your hips. So again, do whatever feels right for you in your body today. You can bring your palms to your knees. They can be facing up or down, doesn't matter. Either way is fine. And then when you're ready, you can soften your gaze, or if you're comfortable, you can even close your eyes. And go ahead and take a few breaths on your own. Really focusing on the inhale, feeling the air enter through your nostrils or your mouth, filling up your lungs and your abdomen and your belly. And on an exhale, feeling that airflow move out of your nostrils or your mouth, again, your choice. And feeling everything return back into center. Alright, so we're going to do a little breathing technique. So we're going to do some box breathing. We'll inhale for a count of 4. We'll hold at the top for a count of 4. We'll exhale for a count of 4, and then we will hold at the bottom for a count of 4. So go ahead and just take another breath in. Let it go. Go ahead and start. So I'll keep count. So we'll inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold at the bottom 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. hold, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do this one more time. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top, 4, 3, 2, 1. Big exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom, 4, 3, 2. And on the 1, let it all go. Go ahead and take a few breaths as you normally would. So just return to your normal pattern of breathing. And when you're ready, slowly either sharpen your gaze if you had softened it, or you can start to flutter your eyelids open and come back into the space around you. All right, so we're going to warm up the body a little bit. You can either leave your mat if you'd like, or you can remove it off your mat or your blanket. So we're going to come into a tabletop position. So if you want your blanket, you can use it to pad underneath your knees. As you come to your tabletop, it'll give your my hair around. It'll just give you a little bit more padding if you have sensitive knees. If not, you can remove it from the mat. So completely up to you. So go ahead, set up into your tabletop position. And if you've taken any of my other videos, I'm sure you know where I'm going. We're going to warm up our spine with some flexion. And we'll go into some cat-cows. So on an inhale, drop your lower ribs, lift your hips, lift through your front body, really dropping those lower ribs in that belly, cow pose. And on an exhale, round through the spine, tuck the tail, tuck the head, cat. Inhale, drop the lower ribs, lift the tail, lift the head and chest, cow. Exhale, round through the spine, drop the tail, drop the head, cat. Go ahead and work through a few more cat-cows on your own inhales and exhales. And if you want to stay for more than a breath cycle on any of these movements, feel free to. Really pay attention to your body and give it what it needs. So that may mean spending more time in one asana pose, and that's okay. This is your practice. I'm just here to guide you and offer suggestions. After your next exhale, go ahead and return back to a neutral tabletop position. And from there, go ahead and walk your fingertips one handprint forward from where it was. You can go ahead and tuck your toes. On an inhale, look forward. And on an exhale, lift your hips up, back, and down, straighten through your legs and through your hips. We're coming into our first downward facing dog of the day. And it's okay if your heels don't touch the mat. They won't always do that. It can vary day by day, what your flexibility is, so don't worry about that. And breathe. You should feel that energy coming up through the front and then rolling back down through your legs, calves, down through your heels, back into the earth. Next inhale, look forward, and then you can hop, step, or jump your feet to the front of your mat. I'm going to go ahead and remove my blanket because I don't need that right now. And then from here, we're going to come into a forward fold. So make sure you have a little bit of a bend in your knees. On an inhale, come up halfway, flat back. Exhale, let it all go. You can bend your knees as much as you'd like. That you should really be feeling a stretch through your hamstrings. And if the floor is just too far away, you can bring blocks and you can bring your hands onto blocks to really keep length in your spine so you're not rounding too far through that. And you can have it on a high setting if you'd like, medium like I had it before, or a lower setting. So again, listen to your body, pay attention to what your body needs. We'll have a few more opportunities to practice forward folds. On an inhale, go ahead and roll all the way up to standing. Oh, I cut my head off. Sorry. On an inhale, lift your arms, bring them up to touch, bring your fingertips up to touch above your head, coming into a nice strong mountain or volcano pose. And on an exhale, float your hands down by your side, hinge at your hips. We're going to work our way back into that forward fold. I'm going to remove my blocks here. Go ahead and place your hands firmly on the ground. If you need to bend your knees to get there, that's perfectly fine. And then step one foot back, straight back, and then your other foot, and we're going to come into a plank pose. So make sure to keep energy shooting back through your heels. Make sure you're not rounding up through the spine, so nice and straight. Look forward. We're going to just take one inhale here. And on your exhale, go ahead and lower your knees to the mat. Lower all the way down to your belly. You can untuck your feet if you'd like. And then bring your hands underneath your shoulders. On an inhale, lift your head and neck and upper chest up. Look forward. Little baby cobra, just warming up through the spine. And on an exhale, lower the forehead to the floor. Right, on your next inhale, go ahead and push yourself up to all fours. Tuck your toes under. And on your next exhale, lift the hips up, back, and down, downward facing dog. Now in your downward dog, you can take your dog for a walk by bending one knee and then the other. Remember to keep breathing. And if you're walking your dog, go ahead and bring that to stillness for the next few breaths. On your next inhale, look forward. Go ahead and hop, step, jump, float. Just make your way to the top. Coming back into our forward fold. Inhale, come up halfway, flat back. Exhale, let it all go into that forward fold. Then breathe. On your next inhale, go ahead and roll up to stand. Loop your shoulders up, back, and down. Really plant your feet into the mat. Feeling that earth to foot connection. Feeling really grounded. Just take a breath here. And on your next inhale, go ahead and lift the arms, bringing the fingertips to look or to point straight up towards the ceiling. And on an exhale, float your arms down to your side, hinge at your hips, come forward into your forward fold. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, lower back down. And breathe. inhale, look forward. We'll step one foot back and then the other, coming back into our plank pose. Really press through the heels, press up away through the earth. Keep a nice flat back, straight line. And on your next exhale, you can either lower your knees to the floor or you can lower all the way down and come onto your belly. Inhale, lift up into your baby cobra, or you can press into your arms a little more and come into a full cobra, keeping your hips on the ground. If you feel any sort of crunchiness in your lower back, come down a little bit and breathe. Your next exhale, go ahead and lower all the way back down. Push yourself to all fours. Go ahead and tuck the toes underneath. Inhale, and on an exhale, lift the hips up, back, and down. Downward facing dog. Remember to keep breathing here. And on your next inhale, go ahead and lift the right foot up. And on an exhale, bend through that right knee. Bring it into your chest and then step it in between your hands. Now with your left foot, step it in a little bit. And then keep it out, turned out at a 45-degree angle. So you might have to adjust and play with this a little bit, and that's okay. You might have to readjust even once we get up. Take a big breath in, and on your next exhale, bring your torso up. Make sure to keep a nice 90-degree bend in that right front knee. And again, you might have to readjust. Make sure your hips are turned towards the short end of your mat. And your legs should be more like on a parallel train tracks. They shouldn't be right next to each other. So you should have two different tracks, and that'll help with your balance and stability too. All right, so we're coming into a warrior one. So take a breath in. Now you can leave your hands at your hips, or you can reach your hands all the way up. And you can step that foot back further if you need to. Again, just adjust until it feels right to you. And breathe. Feel really strong in your warrior one. Make sure that your shoulders aren't coming up by your ears. Make sure to drop them up, back, and down. On your next exhale, go ahead and float your arms back down. Hinge again at your hips. We're going to spin on that left leg and then go ahead and lower that down to the mat. So we're going to come into a little lunge. I'm going to move back a little bit so you can see me. So make sure to keep your right knee at a 90-degree angle, not a 45-degree angle. Lift up through the chest. You should feel a nice stretch on that right or left quad. On an exhale, shift your hips back, peel your right foot up, bring your toes pointed up towards the ceiling. We're going to come into a little hamstring stretch, so you should feel a nice stretch in that right hamstring. Keep lift up through your chest. Breathe. And after your next exhale, go ahead and roll back forward. Now this time, take your right hand to the inside of your left foot, or your right foot, and then you're going to walk your right foot out a little bit to the edge of your mat, and then turn your right toes out so they're coming off of the mat. And then you should feel a nice opening in your left hip from here. So we're coming into a little bit of a lizard variation. You can keep your knee down on your left foot like I have, or you can even tuck your foot for a little bit more. I'm going to do a little bit of a lower practice today, so I'm not as intense of a practice. I had a little ankle injury this weekend, so I'm taking it a little bit lower. But I can still do this just using the modifications. So let that be a lesson that even if you're injured, you don't have to quit entirely. You can still do physical activity. You can still do the things you love. It just might look a little different for a time period. But then that's great because then I can find something new and not do the same things over and over again. So it's really for benefit as much of a pain as it actually is. All right. Take one more breath here. And then on your next breath, go ahead and step your right leg back to kind of like this tabletop position. It's kind of a lunge, or not a lunge, a plank. Go ahead and tuck your toes under. We're going to come into a plank actually. Take a couple breaths here. So again, make sure you're nice and flat through your back. Push through your heels. Really feel that energy pushing back through your heels. Make sure your hips aren't coming too far up or down. Just a nice straight line and breathe. When you're ready, lower all the way down to the floor. And if you know where we're going next, inhale, press through those hands, rise up. You can come into a cobra. Breathe. And on your next exhale, lower all the way back down. Good job. On your next inhale, push yourself up to all fours. Guess we're going to a downward facing dog next. You were right, so go ahead and tuck the toes under. Inhale, look forward, breathe. Exhale, lift the hips up, back, and down, downward facing dog. Your next inhale, lift the left leg up. Bend through that left knee, shift forward, bring that knee in between, or to your chest, and then step that left foot in between your hands, and then kind of jump your right foot up. So again, we're going to come into that warrior one. So adjust your feet as necessary. Make sure you have a nice 90-degree angle in that left leg, and then push that knee out towards the pinky toe, so that way you can still see your big toe. On an inhale, rise up flat back, coming into that nice strong warrior one. Make sure your hips are pointed towards the short edge of your mat. Nice little 45-degree line through your right foot. Breathe. If you'd like, you can take your arms above your head and come into that full warrior one. Make sure that you are not wearing your shoulders as earmuffs. So lower, drop your shoulders. When you're ready, lower your hands down, hinge at your hips, come forward, pivot back on that right foot so you can come down into your nice low lunge. So again, make sure that left knee is at a nice 90-degree angle. You feel a nice stretch through your right quad. Look forward, keep your chest nice up and back. Nice up and back, wow. Make sure to keep it nice and up and elevated. Make sure you're not collapsing is what I mean. And on your next exhale, go ahead and shift your hips back, peel the toes forward, and you should feel a nice hamstring stretch. Again, keep a nice lift in your chest. You can come up to your fingertips, or if you have your blocks handy, you can even bring your blocks here and you can lift up on your blocks too. You're ready, walk your fingertips forward, bend through that front knee, and then we're going to take our left hand and bring it to the inside of our left foot. You can walk your left foot out to the edge of your mat and then just turn your toes so they're off the mat. We're going to come into that nice lizard variation. So again, you should feel a nice opening through your right hips. You can stay here. This is another place where you could use your blocks to bring the floor to you. Or if you need a little bit more, you can drop your elbows to the floor and come down. You can also tuck the toes under and lift your hip up or your right knee off the ground. So again, go where it feels comfortable to you today. Your next exhale, go ahead and return your left foot to meet your right. Go ahead and tuck the toes under. We're going to come into one more lunge, or I don't know why I keep calling planks lunges today. We're going to go into the last plank, so make it the best plank. Really push away from the earth. Feel strong through your core. Let's go ahead and lift our knees up off the floor. Coming into that nice plank. Look forward. You don't have to look straight down. You can look a little bit forward. Breathe. If you're shaking, that's okay. Shake. One more inhale. And on an exhale, let it all go. Come down to the mat. Inhale, rise up, push through your hands. Cobra. Take a couple breaths here. And on your next exhale, go ahead and lower your forehead to the floor. Then we're going to push ourselves back up into that tabletop position. Let's tuck our toes. One last downward facing dog for the ride home. Inhale, exhale, lift your hips up, back, and down. Downward facing dog, and breathe. On your next exhale, go ahead and lower your knees down to the floor. Bring your knees as wide as the mat, big toes to touch. Inhale, look forward, and on an exhale, send your hips back. You can walk your fingertips forward, and then you can bring your forehead to rest on the floor. We'll come into an extended child's pose for a few breaths to kind of cool everything back down. Go ahead and look forward. Walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. Bring your knees back in line. And then we're just going to walk ourselves back into a seated position. So you can cross one ankle over the other and then just walk yourself back until you're in a nice cross-legged seat. So we're back to where we started. We'll take a few breaths here. And when you're ready, we're going to take our left hand, place it on your right knee, and then take your right fingers and bring them around behind you. Inhale, lift and lengthen, and on an exhale, turn towards the short edge of your mat, towards that right side. Inhale, lift and lengthen a little bit more. Exhale into the twist. Your next exhale, go ahead and return to center. We'll take a couple breaths here. Compare both sides, see how they feel. And after your next exhale, take your right hand, place it on your left knee. We're going to swim our left fingertips around behind us. Inhale, lengthen and lift up through the chest. Exhale, twist towards the left. Inhale, lift a little bit more. Exhale, see if you can go further in the twist. And make sure you're not pulling or cranking through it. Just go to where it feels comfortable in your body. One more inhale and exhale here. And after your next exhale, go ahead and return to center. All right. So now we're going to take our feet, place them together. We're going to come into a little cobbler's pose, so sit up nice and tall. If your legs don't come all the way down to the mat like that, that's okay. You can place blocks underneath your knees or blankets or anything that's you have nearby to support you. You can bring your hands to your feet, bring your hands to a prayer position. Go where it feels comfortable to you. Just breathe. If your hands are on your feet, you can even give yourself a little foot massage. Just opening up through the hips a little bit more. And if you'd like, you can walk forward, coming down into more of a stretch through your groin area. But only go where it feels comfortable to you. Don't go to where you feel any pain. Kind of a little Fritz bead right here. And after your next exhale, go ahead and return back to center. Okay. From here, you can spin around to the long end of your mat. Reach your legs out. Roll down. We're going to come into our final resting pose, Shavasana. So you can bring your feet as wide as the mat, let your toes fall open, bring your hands out at a 45-degree angle. Palms can be facing up, down, or even you can place your pinky end, the edge of your hand, your pinky side, onto the floor. You may want to bolster underneath your knees. If you get cold, you can grab a blanket. But take a few moments here to just close your eyes, let everything go, and just relax. Relax into the practice that you just completed. Letting all the nutrients of your practice just flush through your system. I'm going to go silent for just a moment to let you rest. Just know that I'm still here and I will keep watch of the time. So the card I pulled for this practice today was Fox Spirit, Think on Your Feet. And I actually pulled it in the upside down position, so that means that there is a protection message for us. So it says, are you camouflaging yourself to avoid intimacy? Perhaps you're being too clever for your own good and playing games to protect yourself. Being dishonest with yourself or others can become isolating and create obstacles to true connection. Fox Spirit calls you to be attuned to what is happening within you and around you, so that your quick thinking and creativity can lead you to better relationships and situations. You are called to use your Fox Spirit beneficially rather than in ways that keep you from experiencing what you want. Or perhaps right now you are realizing that a situation is trickier than it appears on the surface, and you're afraid to make a move in case it turns out to be a mistake. Fox Spirit is here to remind you that when you are in alignment with the Great Spirit, the answers and solutions can come quickly and you can trust them. Don't overthink a situation in order to avoid the challenge of facing a difficult truth. Fox Spirit's creative nature will always be there to guide you and help you move quickly into better circumstances. All right, so if you are able to stay in Shavasana, stay as long as you'd like. If you need to go, that's perfectly okay. Go ahead and start to deepen your breaths, so deepen your inhales and your exhales. Start to wiggle fingers and toes, coming back into your body. And when you're ready, go ahead and roll to your side, and it can be whichever side is your favorite. Come into a little fetal position. We'll just take a breath or two here. When you're ready, go ahead and push yourself up and come to a comfortable seat, bringing your head and neck up last. So go ahead and bring your hands to heart center. Thank you so much for spending your time and your energy and your practice with me today. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. This is September's free practice. I also offer a weekly practice on my Patreon account, so that link is in all of my different bios across all social media sites. So if you'd like to subscribe and support my channel, please make sure to check that out. Otherwise, every month I'll bring out a free practice on YouTube, and I'll post that to social media also so everyone knows. But again, thank you so much for supporting me and for spending this time and energy with me. I hope you all have a great week ahead. Namaste.